Chelsea 2, Tottenham 1. Stamford Bridge, under the lights. All I'm going to say is we need to make sure next season we give Xabi Alonso what he needs to get this club, to get Chelsea Football Club back to where they need to be. Back to where they need. I'm surprised I'm not dressed in black today in mourning. Arsenal have just won the Premier League, 22 years and waiting. Madueke, Kepa, Havertz, ex-Chelsea players are about to lift the Premier League on Sunday against Crystal Palace. Meanwhile, Chelsea, albeit from a victory against Spurs 2-1, hopefully put the final nail in their coffin to get into the Championship. But albeit, we are only looking to get into the Conference League and at best, Europa League next season. Blueco, you have to give Xabi Alonso what he wants to get us back to winning Premier League titles. I know this is new to Chelsea in terms of Blueco. I know you've never done it. You've not experienced it. You don't know what it's like to fight 30 plus games week in, week out. I know there's people in that club, players, who probably have never won a major trophy in their life. But we cannot allow Arsenal to run the Premier League back to back. And what's more annoying, after yesterday's performance, after yesterday's win, is there's fight. There is absolute fight amongst that team. Enzo Fernandez yesterday pulling strings. Cole Palmer pulling strings. The Cole Palmer that we've wanted to see pretty much most of this season somehow found his form yesterday and in the FA Cup final. We're going to talk about two players that may need to leave this club in the summer. I'm sure you can think of one of them, but we have to talk about a couple of key players from yesterday who I thought coming back into this team didn't look out of place. Did not look out of place. And that's going to be started off with Josh Acheampong, who for me, playing as a right back, no Reece James, no Pedro Neto in this lineup, no Levi Colwill, all rested, hopefully back for the Sunderland game on Sunday. But Josh Acheampong put in a superb performance, an absolute superb performance. And this is someone that we should have been trying to get into this team this season. Malo Gusto, I understand, you want to keep Malo Gusto there or thereabouts if Reece James isn't fit, but Josh Acheampong is a player that we have to utilize next season because he is strong on the ball. He can trap back. He can get forward and drive forward the ball. He's an intelligent player. He knows when to pick and play out the right pass. We have to utilize him because he made... Now, let's caveat all of this with Spurs were poor. Spurs were poor yesterday. Spurs were very, very bad, and you can see why they are where they are in the league. But we have to use certain players like Josh Acheampong to our advantage. We just have to do that. We have to. Now, I want to talk about Robert Sanchez, who again, for me, looked very solid in goal, very compact, didn't put a foot wrong, not at fault for the goal, in my opinion, for Richarlison. Another solid performance from him, and he always goes a bit unsung. We don't really... When we don't lose or we don't concede that many goals, we never really talk about Robert Sanchez, but he deserves his credit for last night because even when backs against the wall 2-1, Spurs are knocking on the door, he's still pulling off the saves. The long throws are coming in from Danso. He's pulling off the saves, corners. The other player that I want to talk about, is Jarel Hato, because when he came into the team, there was a lot of raised eyebrows, a lot of question marks about whether he was going to fit in. Is he going to be playing as a left centre-back? Is he going to be playing as a left-back? And I'll be honest, he looks very, very comfortable as a centre-back. And it's probably come at the right time with Xabi Alonso potentially wanting to play free at the back. And hopefully we get to see more Jarel Hato because he puts in some brilliant tackles. Yes, he does commit a couple of fouls each game. You're going to get that from a defender. But last-ditch tackle last night against James Maddison, bearing in mind Spurs know at that point, it's 2-1 at that point. James Maddison's threw in on goal. Jarel Hato out of nowhere. That's the sort of defenders we have been missing at this football club. Defenders that put everything on the line. Yeah, time their tackles correctly. Don't give away silly fouls, silly penalties. Now, Jarel Hato, for me, very versatile, can play as a left back, can play as a left centre back. Now, we know that Xabi Alonso potentially is going to want to play with the 3 centre backs at the back, so that might open a door for him alongside Levi Colwell and potentially that elite, experienced centre back that I spoke about yesterday on the live. We need to make sure Josh Acheampong, Jarel Hato are in that team next season, because they are the 2 players for me that have been underused and always overperform when they're given opportunities. They always, I can't remember the last time Jarel Hato or even Josh Acheampong put a foot wrong. They both deserve to be in that team. 1000%. 1000%. Now I want to talk about Enzo Fernandez, because Enzo Fernandez, in that role, away from Caicedo, more in the 10. And even last night, he wasn't even playing in the 10. He was playing off the left. You had Cole Palmer in the 10. You had Pedro Neto on the right. And it worked. It worked. Now, I want to give Callum McFarlane some of the credit. But as I said last night on the live, I feel like a lot of these players now know that Xabi Alonso is coming into this team. And it feels a little bit like because they know that, they've upped the levels a little bit. They've upped their performances because they know that Xabi Alonso is coming through the door. They're playing for their futures. They're playing for to start in the first 11 next season. So they have to put in performances now. Xabi Alonso will have been sat home somewhere watching that game last night. So some of these players are now starting to think that. And last night, Enzo Fernandez, superb. If there's one player, Xabi Alonso, when he walks through that door, the 1st of July, that he has to make sure he has a conversation with, he gives assurances to, he tries to nail down for a new contract, he gives him what he wants, you build the team around him. For me, has to be Enzo Fernandez. Has to be Enzo Fernandez. We all thought it was going to be Cole Palmer. His days are, I'll be honest, his days are numbered as a starting 11 player for Chelsea. Because when Esteval comes back, I expect Esteval to be in that team. I think Pedro Neto, I think we're going to bring in a left winger, and then you would look at maybe Enzo in that 10, because he's flourishing. He looks amazing in the 10. And not even just for the goal, which he took very, very well. You know, I think he's got 10 Premier League goals this season. That's something that we've been crying out for. Going back a couple of seasons, even under Tuchel, before Tuchel, when Jorginho was our top goal scorer one season. We've been crying out for a player that a number 10 or someone that's in the midfield to be creative, add to the goals. We were using James and other players at one point as our goal scorers. Now we've got someone who's creative in that midfield. We've got to play to his strengths. And if that means you drop certain players, if that means certain players have to warm the bench a little bit, then so be it. Because to me, Enzo Fernandez shown last night why he is the guy that you should be building your team around. Now, you can argue the toss that maybe Enzo should have done more since he's arrived at the club from Benfica, because you look at the price tag, 100 million pound player, you're expecting a lot more from him over the course of time. But he's showing development and he's showing improvement, and I will take that over anything else. He's showing that he has got the qualities and the capabilities to be a top player at Chelsea next season. And we have to build the squad around him. We cannot afford to not have him in this team next season, in my opinion. He has to be in the team. 100%. He has to be in the team. Now, goals were brilliant. Enzo's goal was brilliant. I was happy for Andrey Santos. First Premier League goal of the season. Look, I mean, it comes at the very end. I think we expected a lot more from Andrey Santos, especially when Liam Rosinia was appointed in January. We thought we were going to see a lot more from Andrey Santos from his time working with Rosinia at Strasbourg. We haven't seen that, but I do feel there's a player in Andrey Santos still. There's a player in there still that we need to make sure we get the best of again next season, because I would expect maybe a Sugo, maybe he gets a loan, maybe Lavia gets a loan or we sell him. But I think we need to try and bring in, if we don't bring in another midfielder, we have to look at maybe, again, how do we get the best out of Santos next season? Because I keep saying this, I don't think we're going to spend as much money as people think we're going to spend next season. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to have to make best of what we've got. And that might mean bringing Andrey Santos to the level of Caicedo, to the level of some of the other players in the team. Two players for me that we have to talk about for the wrong reasons, unfortunately. And one of them, I feel like maybe this is a mixed one. I think the obvious one we'll leave till last. But Pedro Neto, for me, massive question marks about his future. Massive question marks. I don't know if he stays at the club. We see one game where he plays well, then he has 3 bad games. He has a game where he doesn't really impact it. He goes missing. The Club World Cup was meant to be the start of his trajectory. And it almost feels like he's gone into some form of regression in terms of his quality, his ball playing ability, getting into the box, creating something, just isn't there anymore this season. So you would have to argue the toss. Does he even start for us next season? I don't think he does when Esteval's back in the team. If we bring in another left winger and you've got Enzo in the 10, I don't see how it's going to work. I really don't. So we'll have to see how Alonso sets his team up, if he does go with the 3 centre-backs or if he changes things and how that's going to look for him. But I would say Pedro Neto, for me, just hasn't done it this season that we thought he was going to do based off the Club World Cup. The performances haven't been there. So the other player for me, and I can't be on my own with this one. In fact, I know I'm not on my own because Dej Spence even put it on his Twitter. Liam Delap. He's got to go. He's got to go. Liam Delap, is a cross between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin with hair. Because he doesn't even want to play football. This guy isn't even looking at the ball and he's trying to elbow players in the head. He has to go. Liam Delap. I mean, look, when we signed him, I'll be honest, I thought this is a low cost risk. Wasn't much money. He scored, I think, 12 goals, was it, or something like that for Ipswich the season before. But when you look back in it now, he scored 12 goals in a really bad team. Yeah, they always used to play to his strengths. Long ball, kick it over the top. We don't play like that. We don't play with the long ball over the top all the time. We play through. We use the channels. We use the ball well. I don't know if it's a frustration thing because he's not getting the ball as much as he wants, or just, I saw him on the team sheet yesterday and I just knew he wasn't going to score a goal. He's got two, maybe one goal this season. So he's not good enough to be at, we haven't got the luxury of time, especially next season, because like I said, Arsenal have just won the Premier League. We don't have the luxury of time to try and get the best out of players next season. You either hit the ground running or you hit the road jack. It's as simple as that. He can't be at this football club next season. And I don't know if it's a loan. I don't know if we sell him for a cut price, but something has to give because he's not good enough. He ain't good enough. He just wants to bully players. The most action I got to see from him was from the scrummage in the corner or the throw-in near the end of the game, and there was all the argy-bargies in our box. That was the most action I got from him, and in the elbow on Spence. Like, he doesn't... I've never seen a striker not hungry to try and win the ball, take players on. See, even when he receives the ball, sometimes he takes it out wide and his first reaction is to kick it back towards our goal, to one of our defenders, not even to try and get it into the box. And last night you could hear the frustration of the Chelsea fans number of times when he had the ball. He doesn't make the right decisions. And as a Chelsea player, especially next season, and I keep saying this, we don't have the luxury of time to hold people's hands next season. If we don't get European football, that is one game a season, there can't be any excuses. I don't want to see us hovering around the 6th or 7th position in the league. We have to be competing. It looks like there's no Pep Guardiola. Arne Slot is not slotting anything anywhere anymore. Arsenal are not doing back-to-back Premier League titles. It is there for the taking. We've got one of the best managers in world football right now. It's all on Blueco. It's all on Blueco. Blueco have to get this right next season. If they don't get it right next season and it's more of the same, I'll revert back to one of my videos a couple of weeks ago we will be where Tottenham are right now. We will be where Tottenham are right now if we don't revert from this silly model that we've been following for 4 years. We will be there. I'm going to wrap this video up the way that I started it. Arsenal, 22 years ago, won the Premier League. Last night, they were crowned Premier League. They were, I can't even say the words. They were crowned Premier League champions. My phone's been non-stop. Arsenal fans that I haven't heard from months ago suddenly found my number. We can't let that happen again. We can't let that happen again. Yes, we got the job done yesterday. It was a very convincing performance. It was everything that we wanted. We got to rest players. We got to see Shimweka finally get some minutes in the team, which I thought he should have got a lot earlier yesterday. We're seeing the right things happening. Credit to Callum McFarlane for that. The real test now isn't even on Sunday. The real test starts from pre-season. And I hope Xabi Alonso, albeit he doesn't officially start on the 1st of July, is already doing the groundwork for next season now. Because we're going to need it. We're going to absolutely need it. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll be back soon with another video.